Back to officially meet you via
You
Zoom.
too.
Welcome to Chicago. I had a question about the trade and how actually like the back-to-back trades, right? So you end up in Connecticut, but then are quickly moved to Chicago. I'm
Sorry.
curious how much you can say about that and what you can say as far as having a desire to be moved to Chicago after that initial move to Connecticut.
Yeah, for me, Chicago has always been a really good organization too. And yes, it was a whirlwind of a week. I just felt there was a lot that happened in a matter of, 48 hours. But I was really happy ultimately with ending in Chicago, especially a team when you're wanted as well, is like that's where you want to end up. So for me, I feel like I've been dealt the best hand of cards in the end, for sure.
Just quickly, did you get a chance to talk to Jeff and Tyler like before
Yes.
it was actually executed, or was
Yeah,
it
I did.
okay?
I
And
did,
how,
which was really lovely.
okay. What did they say about your fit in Chicago and why they wanted you here?
I think they're also wanting someone that can help space the floor, be an outside shooter. I like that I'll be able to be a guard here as well. But I like that they wanted to make sure that I wanted to be there too. So I think that it's really quite nice when an organization makes it two-sided in that way.
Yeah.
But Jeff was lovely. Tyler's awesome as well. So I'm excited to meet them in person.
Thanks, Beck.
Thanks.
Thank
We'll
you.
go to Carly and then Steven.
Hi, Rebecca. Carly Bell with Marquee Sports Network. Nice to meet you over Zoom.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so when you look at this roster and now that you're going to be playing in more of a guard position and a guard role, when you look at
Mm,
the rookies in both Camilla and Angel,
yeah.
what do those posts provide you as a guard and how do you want to help aid in their development in 2025?
Yeah, I just love that they're both aggressive scorers as well as good defenders as well too. So I think it'll be a nice sort of synergy between guards and bigs. And obviously they're going to be a focal point for us. And you've got Sluty in that point guard position who can just navigate everyone on the court. So I think it's a nice balance between, veteran players and the younger generation coming through. So for me, you can just see that they've got a great work ethic and then they play hard. And so that's what you can ask for so that you know that you can outrun teams and play at a fast pace as well.
Thanks. We'll go to Steven.
Hey Rebecca, how you doing today?
Hi, good, thank you.
So you're a player that one thing that always stands out is your defensive versatility. Can you just kind of speak to the demands that are on players in your role in this league where you have to defend in so much space and you have to guard against so many 2 and 3 player actions and stay connected and things like that?
Yeah, I had to work hard to get that defense, be known to be a defender as well. I think that's something that just came with like a lot of work. And what I really play to is that I'm lucky that I'm long and I'm tall in the guard position as well. And so in a lot of my past teams have even like had me playing on the point guards as well. So it's nice to have that sort of level of versatility on who you can guard. But I know like a lot of players don't like playing against length, even just having that as putting them off for a shot, I think that plays to my advantage as well, rather than always going for that block. So yeah, I like that I've sort of got that defensive IQ.
Thanks, Steven. We'll go Mike and then Jackie. Mike, then Jackie.
Hey Rebecca, Mike Hughes from Give Us a Shot Network. It's great to meet you. Welcome to the city.
Thank you.
My only question for you, obviously, Sloot's returning to Chicago. She spent some time in New York, and for you guys to both be coming from an organization that has produced so many great guards over the years, what does it mean for you to be able to play alongside her now? And how does that kind of open up or free up what you want to do on the floor with someone who's kind of just a floor general all around?
Yeah, this is probably my favorite question. I think that Sluty being on the team is the biggest calling card. I think to play with such a great point guard, you don't always get that luxury because I think they're rare. They're rare players like herself. So for me to play alongside someone like Sluty who just has unreal vision, she's got this discipline of getting everyone on the same page as well, and I feel really lucky to be able to play alongside her.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. We'll go Jackie, then Alyssa.
Hey Beck, it's good to see you. Congratulations on landing in Chicago. I'm just curious if you could reflect on just your skill set and how over time it has become so much more valuable in the modern WNBA, I guess, in comparison to when, you were a rookie, how sort of your skill
Yeah.
set, that value has changed.
Yeah, it's sort of funny. I think the game has changed, like you just said, and I think being able to be. I've always been a shooter. I've always like been able to rely on having a good outside shot. But that 3 and D thing has been so valuable, especially in the WNBA, just because of how the game has grown too. I think everyone now needs to be able to shoot as a player, whether you're a big or a guard or whatever else. And so I like that it's sort of been able to still align with how the game has changed too. But I think having that height and that length has been a gift for me. But yeah, I've obviously had to really work on it. My first years in New York, I had to work on that defense to be able to get the court time, and so then I've really created that as my backbone for who I am as a player.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie. We'll go Alyssa, then we'll circle back with Carly.
Hey, Beck, nice to meet you. I'm Alyssa
You
Hirsch
too.
from the Next. I know that Teaspoon was a mentor of yours when you were in New York.
Yeah.
I'm curious what your relationship is like now and if you guys have had a chance to connect at all this offseason.
Honestly, I haven't connected with her in a little bit, but I know that if I saw her, it'd be so nice. Spoon's just an awesome human, an absolute legend, and just always a really, really good energy. So, like, I hope to see her this season. But she's someone that's always in every player's corner. So I've got a lot of good things to say about her.
Thanks, Alyssa. We'll go Carly and then back to circle with Stephen.
Yeah, Beck, kind of just to talk about Tyler Marsh. He's entering into his first head coaching position and he's still building his coaching staff around him. When you look at what this coaching staff is able to do and it kind of being a, quote unquote rookie coaching staff, what are some things that kind of stood out to you about his style of coaching that makes you know that you can tap into that utility side of your play?
Yeah, I think also being approachable is one of the biggest things. I think when communication is two-way between coach and players, I mean, you need that at the professional level, and it feels that way even after my phone calls. But I know everything I say right now is quite fresh, raw. I've only just met them, but I think it says a lot that even with Vegas, how they were sad to see him go. So he has obviously a huge impact on players. So I'm excited. It's sort of cool even for me to step into this organization for the first time and also have first time coaches coming here, because then everyone's sort of on this same page of, hey, we're starting fresh. Can make it a bit easier when you're coming in. So yeah, I mean, for me, I've played with a lot of coaches when it's their first time. I've played with a few, so that's cool.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Stephen?
One last one for you, Rebecca. Last season, Nate Tibbetts mentioned to me a handful of times how much of a glue piece that you were for the team and how important you were because of that role. It feels like that's a role that all of your coaches have suggested that you've played for them over the last few years. Can you speak to just how like fragile of a role that is, to where you have to be able to play to so many different personalities and unlike
Yeah.
the other players really can't all the time?
Yeah, for me, I think it's the ultimate compliment to be called that glue piece. I think it can be sometimes undervalued. Sometimes it's just nice to have that locker room presence or the thing that keeps people together. And I mean, that's just something that I do naturally. But I think it's just, when you've got a whole lot of good people in a room together, we've all got the same goal. Obviously, a season that has ups and downs and things can sometimes go out of whack and in line. So it's sort of, I think that it's never just me alone. There's always everyone in different moments, but I like having that role. And so for me, yeah, I think that it says a lot to character. So that's why I find it a big compliment.
Alyssa?
Hi, sorry, I think I got frozen and my video is gone.
Oh,
Beck, I know you played for a couple different organizations the last couple of years. You'll be a free agent after this season. At this point in your career, what's most important to you in an organization? Like, what are the things that you're looking for that will make it feel like the right fit?
Yeah, I think that there's a big is the care factor. I know that last season I had a really unlucky year in terms of the injuries that I had, and so I've worked really hard in this off season just to get strong and be ready before the start of the season. And I just like how they're open to communicating everything's very transparent, and I think that that's a really nice way to start. So I love that feeling of, you know, open, honest conversation, because you don't always get that. And so like it gets everyone on the same page, and also it means that you've got this element of trust pretty early on. So I think that's pretty big coming into a new organization, because it's not always easy to achieve that.
Thanks, Alyssa. Jackie?
Hello again, Beck. I guess I think it's always very awkward when you do that.
Never.
I know, well, I guess anyway. I guess I want to understand what vision Tyler and Jeff have for you, and also what maybe you want to accomplish in 2025 on the Sky.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't gotten into huge depths about, you know, role and all that sort of stuff, but I know that a big part of it is to be me, sort of like I said before, in the sense of being a guard a little bit more, and that'll be able to be in the 3, swing to the 4 if that's ever required, and I like that. I think that's something that I'm a lot more comfortable in. But yeah, no, I know that those conversations will be extended sooner. I know that these last 2 weeks have been full on. But then even just for myself, I'm just really wanting it to be a bounce back year for me in a sense. So I've got a lot of motivation behind me, and part of that also is enjoyment. I think it's a really great group of women on this roster. So I think it's just going to be a really enjoyable team too.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie. We'll go to Annie and end with Carly.
This team is still in such a state of flux. You talked about, you know, first year coach Tyler Marsh. He was someone that you wanted to come and play for. What about that role though of being you know, a vet with young stars, young talent excited you? And just second to that, you know, Jeff has talked about the need to bring in high character players. So was that something that you had serious interest in, was being someone who could impact the locker room, and again help structure this team in this state of flux that they're in?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always, just to answer the second part of the question, I feel like that always happens sort of organically, and I like that every coach, every coach that's got me has always made that a comment, so that happens naturally. But it is also, it's going to be a locker room that is interesting, with the dynamic of older to younger, and it's sort of even funny. Like, I understand I'm a vet, but it's sort of hard to even think of myself like that. Um, but yeah, I think it is that thing of managing, because I think there's also in some ways 2 different eras as well within that locker room of before, how, like, you know, you got Angel, and now where there's this such a different presence in terms of even just online, just how the crowd that she's brought to the game is so different to even what it was like when I started out. So I know that there's learning things, but I think it's being open to everything, and also you just get to know everyone. And I think when you get on that same page, it's of learning each other, and what makes each other tick, and how you connect on the court from it, like a basketball perspective. Yeah, that's just super helpful.
But just like following up to try and understand this a little bit better, is there something like as a competitor that's exciting about being part of a team that's building, that's in a state of build? You know, is that,
Yeah.
again, as a competitor, is there genuinely an aspect that, like, okay, I want to be a part of a team that's still figuring it out? That this year.
Yeah, okay, I understand. Yeah, so then you're sort of part of it. Yes.
Yeah.
I do really like that, but I also like that it's not like a full rebuild. You've still got the
Yeah.
core sort of what's been there. So it's not this totally new fresh where no one has any identity. So I think what is good is they had last year, and they're like, hey, we don't want to go in this direction. We want to be headed in this direction. And
Right.
that's why we've got the pieces for it. So I am happy that I suit the identity of what they want to be. But also, yeah, like you said, I'm excited and motivated to play along the plays that were there last year, because they've obviously all got, they want to do better than how they performed in the last season. So I think, yeah, I am excited for that.
Thanks.
All right, we'll end with Carly.
Yeah, Becca, I just got one more. You know, I asked you about the post group, and now that you're looking into going into the guard group, it's not just Sleuth there. You got Rachel Banham, you got Mariah Jefferson, you also have Kian Nurse. When you look at that guard group, what are some things that kind of stand out, and how do you feel like you can play into that group to help facilitate offense?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shooters, so there'll be a lot of space on that floor, and I think that that's a huge asset, especially for our bigs. I think when you got a lot of guards out there that can shoot the ball, it creates lanes and driving lanes for our bigs too. But I think with another thing that I've really brought to my game, and I think I built up from when I was at Connecticut, is my off-ball movement and cutting. Sometimes you cut not just for yourself, but it creates a space for someone else. So I really want to bring that, and that is facilitating just in a different way. So I definitely want to do that because, yeah, that opens the court up immensely.
Just to kind of follow up on that super quickly, you talk about off-ball movement and having all of that space to create that spacing. Is that part of your IQ that you really want to share with the bigs? Obviously, you're in a different position, but knowing how to move off the ball is something that we kind of saw Camilla and Angel starting to get a hold of at the end of the season. Like, how do you want to
Yeah.
bring that into 2025 for them to kind of learn and develop?
Yeah, I do want that because I think you need to have that connection with the big if you are the guard cutting. I think that's how you can get those backdoor passes and all of that. So that's what training camp is going to be about, because then they need to know when I'm cutting too, and then you sort of build this I don't know, this connection, and them knowing when I'm cutting and obviously not doing it too much too. So that's why I think getting there a bit early too, and then also training camp, that's when you develop or start to develop at least those connections. But yeah, that off ball cutting with the bigs is really big.
Awesome. Thank you so much and looking forward to meeting you in April.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Beck, enjoy sunny Australia. We are here in 10-degree weather in Chicago. So thank you everyone for joining wherever you are. Appreciate you, Beck.
Awesome. Thank you.